Hey everybody, it's Queen Jelly here, and welcome back to the Toy Box. This is a doll and toy themed YouTube channel that is aimed at adult collectors such as myself. Of course, I do my best to keep the channel family friendly, but do keep that in mind. With that being said, today we are going to go on to the next doll that won a vote, which is going to be Emily from the Corpse Bride. I have some thoughts, I have some feelings, and I'm not gonna lie, this doll was part of what caused my temporary hiatus, because after receiving this doll, I wasn't sure how to talk about her, because as you guys know, if you've seen my channel before, part of my unboxing is talking about the box itself. I talk about the details and the artistry into it and all that stuff, and there is strong proof that this box was designed partially using AI, and I am a huge opponent of AI. I cannot stand it in general, but especially not in creative spaces. It should not be used to replace actual artists. If you would like to use it as a tool, that is one thing, but use it as a replacement is a totally another thing that is completely unacceptable, again, especially in creative spaces. The point of advancements in computers should be so that humans can do more creative things, not to take things creatively away from humans. And I will say it again if I have to, but for right now, that's all that I have to say about it. But just know that I'm going to be speaking very minimally about the box. I'm just gonna be like, yep, here it is, because I'm not really comfortable talking about something that I don't believe in. But other than that, I'm excited for the doll herself. I am a huge Corpse Bride, like Night Before Christmas, like all that type of era and like style. I'm a really big fan of those kinds of movies. Emily's always been a huge fan of mine. Actually, the ring that I've been wearing lately is actually a costume jewelry piece from Corpse Bride, and this is a movie that I genuinely do love, and so that's why I went ahead and got this doll anyway, despite the fact that I'm very incredibly disappointed in Mattel for using AI to design her package. So but yeah, let's go ahead, turn around to the desk, and like I said, we will take a quick look at her as I unbox, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here we are on the desk. Again, as I said, we are just going to kind of skip straight to the unboxing because, as from what I've been told, this has used AI to be generated. I don't know what else has used AI, so I really just don't feel comfortable talking about it. However, I will still read the back of the box. We're going to go, "Dearly beloved and departed, we are gathered here today to celebrate the unlife of Emily, who has found her way, although she felt not ice nor sun nor candle flame. Her betrayed and broken heart ached all the same, until the engagement gave her hope and spark. Despite the pesky clause, death do us part. But alas, just as the piano duet must end, so too did her betrothal. She set herself and her groom free, heart more glad than woeful. Emily walked the aisle in reverse, exuding ghostly grace. Luminous her gossamer veil flowing behind her face. At peace she stepped into the moonlight and let go with a sigh, dissolving into 1,000 blue butterflies fluttering into the sky." Normally, I really enjoy the blurb on the back, but normally it kind of adds something. This just describes the final scene, so it is what it is. That's not the important part. This is the important part. So again, I don't know the status of the background, so I do apologize if this was made by an artist, but I'm not going to talk about it. If you know in the comments down below, please let me know so I can give people their flowers where they are due. If it was designed by a human, I would like to know. Please and thank you. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get her unboxed. so we have her out of the box. Before I talk about her though, I do want to say one more thing. Thank you so much to everyone who has turned out for my votes lately. This was the winner of one of the polls on my channel to see what doll to unbox. What was really funny with this one is, I swear every time I checked, Caddy and Emily were literally tied almost every single time I checked. Then one time I check and Caddy has like one vote, because obviously they show in percentages, but has like one vote more than Emily. And I was like, okay, all set up to do Caddy. And then I was out and busy for the day, so I wasn't able to film that day. And then today when I went to film and I went to go do my screenshot, Emily had just eked out Caddy. So we went with Emily today. So Caddy is currently, as of filming, which that might not even be the poll that's up anymore because I'm going through them a little bit faster than they're getting actually posted. But Caddy went back into the pool, and if you are interested in deciding what dolls are open next on my channel, I've been posting a poll on my channel every couple of days that has 4 dolls listed in it, and whichever doll wins that vote is the next one to get unboxed and posted on the channel. So if you want to help decide what you want to see, just go ahead and go to my community posts and they'll be there for you. But anyway, she is so pretty. I love this doll. I heard that not everyone is a fan of her, but I don't think there's any doll that's been like fully like loved entirely by the community. Even the most beloved dolls have some people that don't like her, like different stuff for different people. And I am a firm believer that like, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And like, that shouldn't affect how other people feel about their dolls. I personally, like, just looking at her quickly, I am amazed by the way that they did this body sculpt, and I would like to see her without the dress to see how exactly this is done. But it's kind of like a combination of like a Skullector body and like a regular body, which is exactly what I would want for Emily, because like we have the leg here as the bone, and then this arm and hand here is bone, and then there's this little cutout here for the rib cage, and that's just perfect. Because if you guys saw one of my BJD videos, I was right in the middle of this when my hiatus happened, and then I actually lost an eye for one of the dolls, and so I haven't finished it, but I'm pretty sure that I talk about her on my channel. And if I haven't already, this is a BJD blind box collector doll that obviously, as you could tell, is very much inspired similarly to Corpse Bride. It is not the same kind of like, it's not a collab like the Monster High doll is or anything like that. But she does have a sticker that you put on her chest that has bone on it, and you're supposed to be able to see it through the dress, but the dress comes intact. So you have to like yourself modify the doll in order to like, so you have to put the sticker on and you have to cut the dress in order to be able to see it. And like, as much as I love this doll, and I'm so glad that I have her, that's something that was very disappointing to me, because this is a super thick fabric here, and I'm not ruining this dress for a little tiny peekaboo moment that should have been included. Especially because this also has this beautiful like printed detail here on the chest, and you can't even see it when like she's standing in a neutral pose. So like, I again love this doll and I'm glad to have her in my collection, but I definitely have my gripes with this as a like withered bride design. That same gripes do not apply to this doll. So just so we're kind of clear here. I do know about her cheek here that it is just printed on rather than sculpted in, but for her face shape, I think that was the right choice. Would it have been a little bit better? Maybe, but I don't think that it's necessary. I think as long as it's at least printed there, we have this amazing body sculpt, and I think that kind of makes up for the fact that her head, it might not be as sculpted as it could have been. I do like that they went with the butterfly motif for her being like the finale scene again, where just like how it kind of described it, she kind of turns into butterflies. So I think that's really cool. But let's go ahead and look at her individual details. Also, we'll talk about her stand, which I was having a hard time balancing her on because it is, of course, a saddle stand. And for some reason, they're insistent that if it is a saddle stand, that means the doll must be floating for some reason. either whether it be that their crotch is floating, or it be that because their legs are too long, or it be that their feet are floating because their feet don't touch the floor. I don't know what it is with saddle stands, but they are insistent upon them floating while on the saddle stand. But I do like this little side clip, how it has one side that's smaller because the one side has the bone leg and then the other side is thicker because of it having the regular leg. So I do like that addition there. And for what I've seen, this is very similar to the Alien stand that I will have someday. But anyway, let's go ahead and start down here at her feet. So as you can see, she does have this one sock on this side. It's kind of made out of a mesh that is cinched at the top. So it sits about halfway down her leg. And then she has these black heels with a butterfly clasp here and some like drips coming off of it, and then scraps as her heel, which as a huge fan of scraps, I love that. I would have loved to have seen him as like a pet for her rather than just like on her shoe. But if we are not getting a pet, I'm glad that it's at least represented somewhere on her. And he is so cute. Look at little scraps. And then on the other one, I do like that they went with the black, so it kind of blends into the shoe pretty well. But we have the tree that she was buried under. And on the toe, there are some roses. And then that butterfly clasp again here, which we don't have the rose on the skeleton foot, but I'm okay with that because you can see more details of that skeleton foot without having the rose there to block it. And then her skeleton part goes all the way up to the leg, so it is just replaced here at the joint. Actually, I have a Skullector right here, so we can look and see if it is the same. Stupid. I hate saddle stands, if you can't tell. Yeah, it looks to be roughly the same. So, not like a new sculpt just for Emily, but the fact that they're using it instead of just like printing it on or just giving her two regular legs, I really appreciate it. I think it's exactly what I would want out of a doll like this. And then as for her belt, I wish it kind of sat better on her, but other than that, I get it. It's going for the like viney look again, for like her being like buried under the tree. And we have this butterfly here. I do appreciate that it is painted on there, and then we have some unpainted butterflies around as well. It is rubbery, but it does go around the back. It does really like to catch her hair, so that's something I need to be careful of with like posing and stuff like that, that her hair is not wrapped around these tendrils. And since my Skullectors are like jam-packed right next to each other, they do tend to catch on each other, so it is something I will have to be careful of. But I do think it's really cute, and it definitely adds something that we needed to this doll, because I personally feel like it might have been a little bit too plain if we didn't have this piece. Like, I know this is obviously something that's completely made up, but I don't know, I personally think that it, like I said, adds to the overall like design and makes it feel a little bit more fleshed out. For her arms, again, just like with the leg, it is replaced all the way up here at the shoulder. But then on her hand, she has the rings on, which I think is such an amazing detail. I'm so glad that they included that, because again, without that, it really kind of misses a big point. So I'm glad that they made sure to add the ring on. And then we have a mesh like glovelet here to match the mesh on this leg, and to kind of emulate her flesh, because in the movie it's not like 100% clean. It's still kind of slightly like coming off, so I do like that we have this like mesh to kind of like give that feeling of like still covered in some skin. It's just kind of slowly sloshing off. I know that sounds a little morbid, but like that is her design. And then we have her gorgeous blue hair that goes all the way down to past her knees, and I'm just having a great time playing with it. It is a little dry, but also it's winter right now, so all of my doll hair, even the ones that normally feel nice, feel really dry right now, so I can't really super judge it for that. But I do love this color blend that they went with. It's such a beautiful like royal blue. It's just excellent. And then for her face, they did a wonderful job with this face up. I think she looks just like Emily, with the giant eyes and the deep purple around them, and then just this little bit of light purple to kind of make it a little bit more feminine, a little bit more glam, as opposed to just sunken eyes. I think it's so beautiful, and she has gray pupils. She has a kind of plum almost color lip, and then again that little bit here that's printed on that is meant to be where you can see her teeth, and you can kind of see how it like again kind of swirls out into her skin. Yes, like I said, a sculpting may have looked nice, but I think without the sculpting, I think this is the closest thing that we could have gotten to looking pretty accurate, so I enjoy that. They did a really good job of getting her like worried eyebrows in. I think that's absolutely beautiful. And then this headpiece is amazing. Like, look at the spider web here and these butterflies on the top. So we have 3 butterflies, and again, all painted, thankfully. Very beautiful. And we kind of have this dripping design on this side and more spider webs on this side to kind of again give that feeling of decay, with this veil covering everything up. And it is all chopped at the bottom, and it does go all the way down to the floor, as it should. It's meant to be a very large and flowy piece, and it really is. It's a well done. Even though it's just a simple piece of tulle, it really adds a lot to the character. I also love that they did her earrings as the worm, so we get that little like part where he kind of sticks out of her head, because this is a little maggot that lives in her head, and he kind of sometimes will like stick out and like give her advice or something like that. So I really love that they worked that into her design here. I would have liked to see Miss Spider as well, because that is also another like very core character, especially since she doesn't have like any sort of like handheld accessory or anything like that. So it would have been really nice to see Miss Spider added on for that. But as for the dress, it is quite thin, but I think that works for, again, the overall design and the overall concept for the bride. She isn't meant to have like a super full skirt. Yes, I know this slit is much higher than the original, but I really like it because you can see her leg without having to like be very pedantic about how you have the dress posed. And this skeleton leg is a big part of why this doll is so cool. So I don't mind it. I know a lot of people have, but personally, I think this was the right choice for a Monster High doll to make the slit exaggerated, because when I look at Monster High dolls, I don't think, is this a one-to-one copy of the doll from the movie? Like, that's not what these are meant for. These are meant to be stylized into the, like, again, the Monster High style. They're meant to look different. I wouldn't want them to be one-to-one recreations, because there might not be other dolls out there specifically for Emily, but just in general, there's other dolls out there that are designed to be one-to-one recreations of characters from movies, and these are not, and I wouldn't want them to be, in my personal opinion. But we do at least have layers here, which is not something we always see with collector dolls. So we have a dark blue layer that kind of matches her hair, a medium blue layer that kind of matches the like skin material that we've seen on the other parts of her body. And then we have an overall white layer that is made out of spider webs, which I think is a really nice detail. Again, the spiders kind of make her dress for her wedding, so I think that's really sweet that we made the spider web detailing really stand out. And again, I think that feels very like Monster High-esque. And then, like I said, we have the bodice. So it is all one big dress, but this bodice has a cutout, which thankfully is hemmed around the edges, so we don't have to worry about that fraying there. So we can see this extra body sculpt. So we kind of have like a skeleton underneath a regular Monster High body. And I'm going to take the top off in a second so we can see it a little bit closer. But then at the top, we again have that same tulle ruffle around the top edge of the dress. And I just think it is so cute. And It fits her body really well. Again, I do wish that this belt piece fit her body a little bit better, because I feel like it keeps wanting to go up here when it's meant to sit like down here on her hips. But that's just kind of part of the problem with that material too, though, I feel like. Thankfully, I see now it does have clear straps that'll help keep the dress up, since it is a strapless design. Again, I am taking her dress off now, so it's all nudity incoming, but I'm just taking it down here so we can see a closer look at the ribcage design, which I think is amazing. I'm very glad that they sculpted this in, because this part, I think I would be upset if this was just a sticker. I really think that the sculpting really sells it, so that's very cool and a much needed detail to really tell who this is supposed to be. I think I don't think you really need like subtle hints as to who it is. I think they did a good job of making it overall very obvious that it is Emily from Corpse Bride. And again, as someone who that is one of their like favorite characters, I think this doll is absolutely stunning and beautiful and very much fits what she is meant to give. As for shipping and availability and that kind of stuff, this was a $71 doll, which is kind of like a weird number, like not 70, not 75, 71, which I've seen a couple of them do that. I don't know what the deal is with that. So it was like just under $85 after shipping and taxes. She was ordered in August 9th and delivered August 14th. So it's actually one of the shorter turnarounds when it comes to Mattel, which they had been having a short turnaround for a little bit. And then I think they still have been having a short turnaround. I think it's just that I've had personal issues with getting the dolls. Again, my alien doll went missing, and then I accidentally missed the pre-order for the first Skullector wave. So both of those I'm waiting about 6 months to receive. So, and that feels like it used to, back when, like, I remember the Frankenstein dolls took at least 6 months to get delivered. So it feels like they're back to form, but at the same time, I think that's just my bad luck. So, but yeah, I got her pretty quickly. And like I said, it was around the same time as the start of the like spooky season and like horror events. So that compounded with the fact that I wasn't comfortable with how the box was why it now took until January of 2026 to actually get her unboxed. But again, I'm glad that I have. So I hope that I'm not the only one that feels that way. Let me know in the comments down below your opinions. Do you hate her? Do you love her? Again, if you know any more information about the box, please let me know in the comments down below. I really want to stay educated on this stuff. I don't want to be going around and sharing misinformation, but I also don't want to be supporting something that I don't believe in. So like I said, please let me know about that in the comments down below. Also, I do apologize if I sound really monotone today. I'm starting to feel a little sick, but I really didn't want to cut into my schedule of filming because it's been so long since I have filmed, and every time I get sick, it gets so hard to get back into the groove. So I really didn't want to cut into that again after I just started. But again, as an overall and as an out-of-box collector, I am super happy with this doll. The hardest part with Skullectors for me right now is finding places for all of them to stand, though, because my shelf that I had dedicated for Skullectors is pretty much full at this point. So it'll be interesting to find her a home, but I am so glad to have her in my collection and to finally have her open. So thank you again, everyone who voted. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And if the option is available, please hype this video. And we'll see you soon in the next one. Bye.